Are dreams just random images fired from an unconscious brain during sleep? Or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance? How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Canavas. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free, 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Welcome to Dreaming Healing. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas, but my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. This show is a video podcast, so if you're only listening right now and you want to watch the show with my guests, go to my website, The Queen of Dreams, or KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com, and look up in the top right-hand corner. You'll see DV7, Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Click that, and it will take you to the live video broadcast, and then you'll get to see us, okay? So tonight's show is titled From Crappy to Happy, with authors Reverend Ariel, Patricia, Ken Walls, and James Redfield. So what do James Redfield, author of the Celestine Prophecies, and Reverend Ariel, Patricia, CEO and owner of Sacred Stories Publishing, and Ken Walls, Amazon Live influencer and CEO and founder of Client Solutions Innovations, have in common? Well, they all had this life-altering, really crappy experience and survived it to write about it. And so right now, the book, Crappy to Happy, right here, is an Amazon bestseller that was released today. So you're seeing it for the first time today, yes? And these authors are here to share their crappy to happy experience with us. But first, let's start the show with our favorite protection and clearing meditation. So if you're driving in your car right now, please don't close your eyes. Keep them open. I promise you, it will still work. So during this meditation, I want you to imagine holding something small but powerful to you, perhaps given to you in a dream by your guardian angels, which mine was, or your spirit guides or deceased loved one, like an amulet or maybe a favorite crystal or a flower, piece of jewelry, anything that holds the power of love for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to take in 3 really deep breaths. We're going to hold them. Well, anything that is not of our highest and best is captured in that breath of life. And then we're going to blow it out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain, where it's going to be converted into beautiful golden healing energy returned to the universe. Then we're going to build a protection bubble around ourselves with our power gift. Okay? It's not going to take long. I know it sounds like a lot. Ready? Close your eyes. Feel yourself relaxing and becoming really, really centered. Taking a deep breath. Hold it. Now blow it out across the room into that purple flame of Saint Germain. Again, deep breath in. Imagine tiny little specks of negativity attaching themselves to that breath of life. Blow it out across the room. One more time. Really deep breath in. Any stubborn pieces of negativity get stuck in there, blow it out across the room. Watch it go right into that purple flame of Saint Germain. Now imagine in your hand you've got your power gift. Swing it around your head and around your body to create a mirrored bubble of protection around you that only lets that which is of the highest and best and brought by your spirit guides and guardian angels into your bubble. Anything else that is not of your highest and best is reflected back from whence it came. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. So crappy to happy stories. Oh, we all have them. And this month, we're going to hear about how real people, just like you, moved from a state of crappy to happy using grit, grace, and love. Ariel is the book's publisher and co-author. Ken Walls is a contributing author, and James Redfield wrote the foreword. So welcome to the show, Reverend Ariel, Patricia, Ken Walls, and James Redfield.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank
So
you.
you're so welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here for the big launch of Crappy to Happy. Again, for those of you watching, here's what the book looks like. It's gorgeous. And for those of you who are just listening, go to my website, click that link, come on in and watch the fun. Patricia, you're a co-author of the book, and you wrote about the spirituality of joy. And you also have a love and relationship story in there called Love Between Lives. So tell us, what was your crappy in this story, Love Between Lives?
Well, first, I just want to say I'm just so thrilled to be here in this little bubble with the four of you. Some of my very favorite people, and James and Ken, we didn't even get to say hi yet. So just hi, guys, and thank you. Thank you.
Hello,
All.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kat, I just want to take a second before I go into a crappy story that turns happy and just say, hey, it's launch day. It's launch day, and what was just another idea, another thought, another, hey, let's do it again, because we did Chaos to Clarity last year. Let's do it again. And now we're here at launch day, and Ken is with us and James is with us, and we have a book that is just packed with incredible stories and authors, and I'm just a little blown away by it's like the community that has formed around this book. It just has its own incredible energy, and so I just want to take a second and just acknowledge that and say thank you, and thank you to you, Kat, because without you, we wouldn't, Crappy to Happy wouldn't be here, and I think it's a real gift.
Back at you. I didn't do this by myself.
Yeah, it's birth today, fourth child. Well, I won't even talk about children. How many children? So crappy to happy. So yes, let me tell you one of my crappy stories and happy stories in there. And it's interesting because all the stories are so different. So my story has to do with the lives between lives regression that I what I did, and I'll tell you a piece of that. But we have stories of, Ken will share his. We have stories of love. We have stories of people surrendering to a higher power, whether it was God or spirituality. We have stories of sexual identity. We have stories of parents who, in their relationships with their children. I mean, they're just life stories. They're a human experience, and they're each one is so phenomenal. And so I'm going to tell you a story about my past life regression, but it is not a book of just spiritual experiences. So it was probably just a few months after my divorce. I was 50, unexpected divorce, head spinning, seeking answers, and really, really disappointed and upset with my then ex-husband, feeling pretty lost and alone. And one of the things that I did was I worked my nerve up to undergo a past life regression, because I was, on a spiritual path. And I detail this regression in the book pretty much step by step. And the first one, it's me in Roman times, and I see myself as a Roman soldier, and I take you through my life there. But the important piece of it is that at the end of my life, I find myself as an older man. I was a man in that life. That surprised me. Never thought I could be a man in any life, but we're both genders. And I find myself on a hillside, sitting on a bench, overlooking the city below, and my grown children are there, and my wife is there, and I'm staring into her eyes, and I can see her long gray hair, and I could feel the love. And I just knew I was filled with such a love that in that lifetime, I had experienced lasting love for my entire life and until I grew old. And that was so meaningful to me, coming on the heels of a divorce and feeling, that there was just no love anywhere. And the second regression, the same night, I was a young woman in Boston, like 1800s. I saw my children. I moved forward in that life. I'm in labor and I'm giving birth to my son, and I'm so excited. And the midwife, after the birth happens, the midwife says, your husband is waiting. Would you like to see your husband? And I said, yes. I was just so thrilled. And in comes my husband, and I look in the eyes of my husband, and I see my ex-husband in this life is my husband in that life. And I was like, no, this can't be happening. I was just so freaked out by it and upset, and like, no, like I was not happy with him at all. And to think that I did another lifetime with him kind of blew me out of the water. And the regression continues and more happens. But when it was all finished, where it came to happy, as I was kind of sitting at the back of the room at the end of the night, what I realized is that, yeah, love does continue between lives, and that I have had lasting love in, as a soul, as a person, in other lives. And it gave me such a larger appreciation for not only who we are, but for the experiences that we have. And so, as crappy as I was feeling earlier in the evening, I truly was in a totally different place. And that has really sustained me going forward, that greater understanding of the really the eternity of our souls. And so there's my one of my crappy to happy stories in the book.
Isn't it amazing, Ariel, how not only do we keep relearning lessons in this life, but from your story, when I read your story, what impressed me was here were people from your past life who had not come into your present life. And they were part of your crappy to happy because you were still working through crappy with them in this life that maybe you were working through with them in a previous life. And yet in the end, it all worked out. What are your thoughts on that?
I've accepted. I think the universe is vast, and I think that the magic is endless. And so I think it's all of that, and I think it's more. And I look at, in my particular situation, I look at my former husband right now, and I see him as a soul friend. I see him. We have a good relationship. People always say, like, how are you friends? And I'm like, it's so much bigger than this lifetime. And I see that. So I guess my thoughts on that is I don't really believe lessons. I don't like that term, but I believe that we have experiences that continue to expand our understanding and our awareness. And so I can show up in this lifetime, and I can have a relationship with someone who has hurt me, or hasn't hurt me, has created opportunities for me to work through and come to a deeper, possibly understanding or love for myself and empathy for others. And so today I look at him and say, thanks, thank you, and I wish you well. So I think that's what the journey is. The journey is that ever expanding awareness and opportunity, deepening into love and deepening into compassion and caring for all of life.
Yeah, thank you for that. So Ken Walls, you wrote about the power of surrender. I so believe in the power of surrender. I never think of it as giving up. I think of it as giving it to God and letting go. So in your story, Our Powerful Mind, which is in part 2 of the book, Health and Wellness, you had to do a bit of surrendering. And I have to tell you, when I was reading your story, what seemed to really stick in my mind was that bat coming down out of the rafters. Because, in a moment like that, I was thinking, oh, there's going to be, a beautiful white dove. And instead, down comes this bat. But you know what? Bats have a very important part in our life. And I thought that it was really important in that you were dealing with some of your darkness within yourself, and I think that was showing itself to a degree in your life. So tell us a little bit about your crappy.
Well, I just love the title of the book. My crappy was incredibly crappy. I was a raging alcoholic for many years, and multiple times had attempted sobriety, I guess, and had a moment, and I talk about it in the book, where there were no burning bushes, no parting of the sea, but a guy sat down next to me and says, "Hey, I'm ready to start working for you in a couple of weeks." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm downsizing, man." Like, he's like, "You offered me a job. You don't remember that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I would never do that." And we're sitting in this super high level bar. It's in the Columbus, Ohio area here, where a very famous golfer has built a huge community in the area. And so I'm in that area in Muirfield Village, and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't offer you a job." And he's like, "You don't remember that?" And so, long story short, he's like, "You're a worthless drunk and everybody around here knows it. Why don't you go get some help?" And, I don't remember exactly every word I wrote in the story, but I've often referenced that moment where, a lot of people say the ego is such a bad thing. It's edging God out. And I'm like, in that moment, my ego saved my life, because I looked around that bar and I'm like, there's all of these affluent people looking at me right now. And some dude just called me a loser drunk. And I was like, and I think it was in that moment, I was like, well, we can't have people thinking that. I've got to do something about this, 25 years into it, and millions of dollars lost, and relationships. And so, I went to a meeting the next night and recovery. And I went way out of town just so I wouldn't be recognized, and sat right down next to a doctor friend of mine. And I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Waiting on you to get here." I'm like, "You've been waiting a while, huh?" But, and I always wanted to be the king of the hill, the big shot. I wanted to be the guy that, I was always talking all the time. And and I tell the story in the book, like, so I'm sitting there and I am getting ready to go off on a long pontification. I wanted all these people in this meeting to know that they were blessed to have me there. And I was there to help them learn the right path. And, you got people with 30, 40 years of sobriety sitting in that room. And so it went around. The guy to my left, the doctor I knew, started the conversation. Then it went around the room, came to me at the end of the hour. And I had this speech planned. It was going to be good. And I said, "Hi, I'm Ken. I'm an alcoholic." Everybody's like, "Hi, Ken." I said, "So, that's the first time I've ever really, truly meant that I'm an alcoholic." And it was at that exact moment, a bat flies down. We're in this huge cafeteria. I am not a fan of bats. I had a bat fly into my hair when I was like 13 years old, riding a bicycle near my aunt's house. And I've always been terrified of bats since that day. And so this bat flies down out of the rafters of this huge cafeteria in this church, circles the room, swoops right past my face. I scream like a little girl. And like, I'm pretty sure I ducked under the table. It happened so fast. And then the bat flies back up into the rafters and perched, or whatever bats do. And so I'm like, I think I'm going to pass. Thank you. I did. It was like God was saying, dude, you talk too much. Shut up. Like, and listen for a change, you know? So, that's how it started. That was over 18 years ago now. And by the grace of God and a lot of hard work. And, you know, I haven't had a drink or a mind or mood altering drug since that day. So, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think I talk about that. I always try to stay in a state of gratitude.
Wow. So you kind of think that bat kind of came down to distract you from the fact that you were going to pontificate.
The only thing that could have made it worse is if it would have had a tennis racket to smack me in the head with on his way down. I was like, yeah, something was trying to get my attention. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, don't go away, everybody. We've got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with James Redfield. We're going to talk to him about the foreword that he wrote for the book. You're listening to Dreaming Healing on DreamVision7Radio.com, and I'm your host, the Queen of Dreams, Kat Canavas, award-winning author and coach. My website is Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas, or The Queen of Dreams. This is Crappy to Happy Launch Month. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke. Forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life. Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com in English and Italian worldwide and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Canavas, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book, Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers. Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to happy. Sacred stories of transformational joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel, Patricia, and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back. You're listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, and I'm your host, the Queen of Dreams, Kat Canavas. So just before the break, we were speaking with our guests about their crappy situations. And now we'd like to ask James Redfield, who wrote the foreword for the book, when you were reading all these stories, James, what struck you as the thread that ran through all of them? We had Ariel, Patricia's story about going back and seeing in past lives that some of the people that were in this life were the same ones then. And then we had Ken talking about, he was a raging alcoholic, and he, went to an AA and had a bat fly down during his first meeting. I mean, these stories seem so different, but what was it about them that you saw that connected them?
Well, first, thank you. Nice to be with everybody and the listeners. The thing about this book, first of all, it's so timely, right? Look at what has happened to the world in the last 9 months. If someone somehow grew their whole life and loved every minute of it and never had a setback, you can bet that the chances are they had a setback this time. We've all had a setback. And so it's kind of, to me, it felt like, because there's so many varying stories, that, it was just sort of representative of what happens in a setback. And I believe that the reason it will be very well received is that, there were solutions offered. I mean, the whole idea is that we can make the comeback. And I think more and more people will identify with some of the stories, but I hope they identify with the fact that everyone has setbacks. We may be having altogether a setback right now, but what it calls for is to understand what is the nature of the comeback. And I think that there are some patterns in every comeback. And the first one would be, it's a personal growth experience, because we all have serious setbacks. And I don't care how much money you have or how famous you are, life presents us with setbacks. And the idea of the revelation in all that is that we can see a pattern of how it's a step in growth. And I think it's always a movement from relying on yourself and your ego and your tactics through life and what you learn from your parents in terms of how to be creative in this world. It starts there, and we get into patterns. But the process of the setback, opens us up to us. I mean, especially, think about it, we just got confined to almost our bedrooms, and what do? You look around and think, wow, all these things that I used to distract myself, all these things that I focused on and worked too hard on, maybe singularly, it's a moment when it's a reassessment. I think, I've been on a lot of shows lately, and everyone is talking about what essentially is the reset, the spiritual reset. And again, you can open up to a greater sense of spiritual connection, or you can move into greater service to others. But it's a reset where we begin to live life for us, for ourselves, for seeking something that really is fulfilling. So you can go across the board on the nature of a setback, and I think what happens is that we start to open up and connect with some divine source that we can believe in. And what essentially happens is that we allow ourselves to be guided, not just to find ways to have fun and be distracted, but serious, opening of a kind of intuitive intelligence. And, a lot of things positively are happening out there to open up that kind of centered intelligence. More people are around the planet are meditating. It's just huge. Never before have so many people been meditating on the planet. And we also now have to become very creative. Millions and millions of people have lost everything. And, their new businesses and creations, broken up families. It's a mess out there. And we of course are acknowledging that. But the process coming back is to find the way of our creativity. And I think that begins with a way to open ourselves up to a greater spiritual consciousness. And out of that comes an intelligent, a kind of intuitive intelligence. And then when we learn when we learn that lesson, it's a way then to come back from any setback, really, because what we're looking at is we're of service to become helpers in service to the world and to making things better. And we are guided into that, and we can have these rich synchronicities. With this consciousness going up, and it's really a strange time, because at the point where people's creations have crashed, we've never had more help in a rising consciousness in the collective energy around us that we can tap into to handle that. So I think that it begins with allowing ourselves to be guided in life and finding a point of service where we are helping in the way that our soul wants to develop, and we find better and better ways of helping. And what happens then is that our rewards are internal and connected, heart opening kinds of tracks and discoveries we can make going forward. And it's always learning to be of service. I remember hearing, and it was, I was not at the time. I was not fond of televangelists, right? But somebody was preaching to a large audience and saying, "Look, God is not going to heal you to watch more television. The source of healing of all kinds is to find the joy that comes with being directed and allowing ourselves to follow these amazing synchronicities until we find our real mission and what we're supposed to be doing in life. And that doesn't have to be exotic. It doesn't have to be a pope changing. It just has to be our truth to tell in the world and our way of helping. And
that's beautiful.
Last point, when we become givers. I mean, and these are hard discoveries with me. Even to the point where, I had my first book ready to go and trying to get it out there, and right in the middle, after I've bought all the things in this project, about went way into debt, I had an investor pull out immediately, right? So that was a setback, and that felt like a questioning of, well, am I really supposed to be doing this? But I think the way I tried to and finally looked at it was, well, where's the silver lining in this event? And that's the last point. If you want to be guided, you want great synchronicities to happen. Well, some synchronicities are challenging, and it's what we make of those. It's the silver lining that we find that could be the breakthrough point for us. But it's all about giving. It's all about energy, giving energy, and letting that fill us up first, and then as we put it out toward other people.
Those are great points. Patricia, I want to come back to you. One of the things that we did as co-authors to this book is I looked at joy and happiness from the psychology point of view, because that's what my degree is in, psychopathology. And you looked at it from the spiritual point of view. Give me your idea from a spiritual point of view of what joy and happiness are to you, how they're similar and how they're different.
Absolutely. I had so much fun writing The Spirituality of Joy. I did, and I write it, all my personalities were talking at the same time, and I write it from the perspective of my warrior self and what she was feeling, my intellectual self and what she was feeling, my nurturing self, and they just kept popping in, and that's kind of how my life is. And I know that is, if it's my life, it's many other people's, right? Because we really are one. And so as I was writing The Spirituality of Joy, I came out, and I, similar to Ken, but I said, kind of like, my name is Ariel and I'm a joy chaser. And I was, when I had the setback that James speaks to, something that just kind of turns you around, spins you around, turns you upside down, and you're like, what the heck is happening? And what do I do now? I think what happens is many of us, myself included, we're very outward looking, right? We're very outward looking. We're looking for things that will help us to feel better. And I did. I was a joy chaser, but I'm a joy chaser in the way of I was looking for courses and spiritual journeys and, more things that I could do so I could feel joy. And I exhausted myself. I exhausted my finances. I turned around and I was like, what the heck is happening? And what I realized is through that journey, and it was important because I finally got to a point, took a long time, but I got there, was that the journey really was within myself. It was that brought me to a point of a deeper knowing, a deeper understanding of that I was okay, that ultimately I was, I had everything I needed within myself. And it brought me to a point that even if I didn't know what was going to happen next, I already knew it was okay and I was okay. So for me and the spirituality of joy, where my journey and what I explain from a spiritual perspective is joy is in that deeper contentment, that deeper knowing, that deeper presence that we can tune into that is within ourselves, that isn't out there. And that is the difference, between, you speak about the difference between joy and happiness. From a psychological perspective, the difference between joy and happiness for me, from a spiritual perspective, is joy is that deeper understanding, knowing, contentment. You know, I talk about becoming comfortable in our uncomfortableness, and we can do that when we are connected and solid within ourselves. And happiness is what we experience or what we feel in different experiences, and joy is that deeper knowing. So I hope people enjoy reading it. I loved writing it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I tried to make it very relatable. But I believe that most people when they read it, you know, will see themselves in it as well.
So, Ariel, are you still chasing your joy? Are you still a joy chaser?
Most days, no.
I've been like putting you on the spot, right?
No, really, I'm really not. No, it's actually interesting. It's interesting, and I laugh about it. I mean, I think that, no. And it's interesting. I just want to relieve, you know, the journey sometimes can get intense, and we're in an intense time, and a lot of stuff is happening, as you know, has already been mentioned. And I think what I like to say to everyone is, when you're starting to maybe feel a little shaky, or you're starting to really doubt, like, am I a joy chaser? Well, this morning I had a kind of a crappy morning, to be quite honest, and I was feeling a little off balance. But I think we need to look, you know, not at ourselves in hours or days, but we really need to look in weeks, months, and even years, and really see the journey, really see, you know, who we were or what we've gone through and where we are now, and appreciate and acknowledge that. And so I'd say this morning I might have been chasing a little joy because I was feeling crappy, but no, I think when we can see ourselves and appreciate and give ourselves the acknowledgement of the journey we've been on, so I'm not a joy chaser. I can stand in the knowing that all is well, and it will continue to be well.
Great. Don't go away, guys. You're listening to Dream Vision Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And when we come back, we're going to ask Ken what his happy is and how did he find it, and did he ever find it? So don't go away. We'll be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Canavas, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases, by Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke. Forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com in English and Italian worldwide, and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book, Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers. Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, and I'm your host, the Queen of Dreams, Kat Canavas, award-winning author and coach. My website is Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas or thequeenofdreams.com. So just before the break, I told you that we were going to come back and ask Ken what his happy is, how he found it, and if he's still living it. So Ken, take it away.
Okay. Yes, I'm happy.
All right. And that's the end of the show.
I mean, about a year into recovery, someone came into my life and she said, "Have you ever meditated?" I'm like, "No, that's not in the Bible. No." And because I thought I knew everything, but it is in the Bible. So I started meditating back then, and I've meditated every single day of my life for more than 17 years now. And I often say that I will be late to a meeting before I miss my morning meditation. So, have I found happy? That was your question, right? Have I found happy?
Did you find it?
I believe I have. There are moments when I have to look a little harder for it in life, but that's kind of life. I don't get too happy. For me is just the opposite of stress. And so I don't get too stressed anymore. I don't let things bother me. Not everything's exactly the way I want it to be, but it does unfold in the way that it's supposed to unfold in my life. So I think happy is learning how to be grateful and accepting no matter what's going on. And so I live in that state most of the time. So I love that. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you did. You really did, because my happy is when I was actually able to surrender after the third time I was diagnosed with breast cancer that the medical community had missed and my dreams told me was there. That surrender of if you want me to live, help me live. If you don't, hey, I'll pack my bags. I'm on my way, letting go and totally letting God. And I think that there was a happiness, a joy that filled me, and I carry that with me all the time. And after you've hit rock bottom, like you did, Ken, it kind of puts all the other little stuff in proper perspective. Things that other people get wigged out over, I don't really get that excited about anymore. So yeah, I think
I'm with you. I think people give external circumstances and people far too much power.
Mhm.
in their lives.
Mhm. I agree. And as far as the meditating goes, well, you meditated at the beginning of my show, and I do that meditation every single night
That's
before
awesome.
I fall asleep, so that even if I'm so exhausted that I fall asleep during that meditation, I fall asleep in a state of grace. And it's part of my joy. So we're into the last part of our show. I mean, it went so quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and let you start, Ken. What are any last thoughts you might have, and tell us where we can find you?
Well, it sound.
Nothing like
I
putting you on the
remember.
spot, right?
I remember sitting in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous when I first got sober, and there was this lady with like 400. She had been sober longer than God. Like she had all these years, and she was like, and everybody calls her Gratitude Nancy, and I'll never forget her because she said, whenever I'm feeling stressed out, I feel like life's overwhelming, I just get out a piece of paper and I start writing down everything I'm grateful for. If I'm breathing, I'm grateful for my breath. I'm blinking, I can see. I'm grateful for every little tiny thing. And so my last words would be, no matter what is going on in life, if you're facing any kind of stress in any way, which James, am I allowed to call, or should it be Mr. Redfield, was talking about that. That we've all been overwhelmed with all of this stuff going on in the world over the last 6 months. And it's like, you know what, get out a piece of paper, or I use my iPad and Apple Pencil and write out gratitude lists, things that you're grateful for. And it literally, for me, it just completely shifts my entire beingness. Absolutely shifts it. So, and you can find me at kenwalls.com. It's real simple.
Great.
kenwalls.com. Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Since you called on you, James, we're going to go to you next.
Well, listen, the thing about the book that I think is my message about it is that there's so many varying stories of coming back. And again, it's all about spirituality. Right now, my message is, I'm working on another book. It'll be out next year. But right now, we're working on community. Anyone can Google my name and you'll see the website come on, and we're founding a community there, and because it's where we can interact. Right now, it's hard to interact. To me, the basic way to get over a setback is to, if you're hurting in any way, go find someone else that's hurting and try to lift them up, and it'll lift your spirits as well. You'll discover that energy and the interchange, and also a bunch of synchronicities, right? That's the I call it inspiration energy, but it's not something you create with your ego. You got to get into the higher kind of sharing about life and helping and giving other people synchronicities. Share that. I like to think that the best way to think about it is, check in with yourself, your intuition, and when you're talking to a stranger or anybody, and just search it real quickly as to what you could share about your personal life that might touch them and it might help them. And almost always when we do this, you'll hear from the other person. You'll share something, how you handled a problem or a solution of some kind. And they'll say, boy, I needed to hear that right now. And my view is that the whole universe is designed for that. We're just now cresting enough consciousness to operate on it individually. It's a miracle making universe we live in. There are setbacks, or so-called setbacks. Find the silver lining. But if anybody who wants to Google me, just Google James Redfield. You'll see the site, and the community's there. So it's open to people who want to pursue those kinds of comebacks. But in this book, you'll find yourself somewhere. And that's what I liked about it.
I really like that community you've started. That it's awesome. And you were talking in another show that I think we were on together. You were talking about the art of the comeback, which is really what the main thread throughout this book is. It is the art of the comeback, but it's also something else you touched on, James, and that's everybody in this book, once they pulled themselves up and dusted themselves off, they reached back and they grabbed somebody else who was still down there and gave them a hand up. And that's something that was in the last book that Ariel and I did, Chaos to Clarity. It was a thread we saw run through that book, and we were amazed. So Ariel, I think I'm going to let you wrap this up. Tell me what your last thoughts are and how we can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my thoughts are it's connection, it's community. And Ken, every time I hear you talk about how you've meditated for almost 18 years, I just realized that, we're all just one. We're really all one. We're all different personalities, but the heart of us is the same. And I love that you meditate. And James, I'm so thrilled that you have your community, and I want to be a part of your community. And Kat, I love what we do together. And I think this is the microcosm of the larger macrocosm. The four of us honestly are very different people. All four of us, we have different lives, different personalities, different interests. And yet we come together and we find our commonality, and it's the unity, right? It's the unity consciousness that we have. And that is what Crappy to Happy also offers. Crappy to Happy, Chaos to Clarity, these types of books. So when people come together and they can really share from their heart, they share who they are, taking the personality away, then that's where we find, that's where the good stuff is. And so that's my final message, is that it's connection, to reach out, connect, because there's people, there will be people there. And you can find me and Crappy to Happy at sacredstoriesmedia.com, sacredstoriespublishing.com. And and Kat, thank you. Thanks for everything.
Well, thank you guys. And I want to thank our listeners and our audience for watching. And I want to leave everybody with this thought. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Joy and happiness never decrease by being shared. And that was said by Buddha. So tune into my show tonight at 9 Eastern Standard Time, when we're going to have some more Crappy to Happy authors. Until then, remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us this evening, and a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Canavas. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeCanvas.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS. Or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.